from economics, finance, and banking. Especially, this is an undergraduate program from economics and business faculty of economics and business, Universitas Brawijaya. And before we start our activities, please, I hope for every participant, everyone can turn on our camera so we can communicate each other, because it's not only about turning on the camera, but also it's all about how to say, this is the communication, and then this is for our intensive communication. So please, because before that we will take a picture for all of participants in this forum. Okay, we have 54, but not all turning on the camera. Okay, we only have one page. Okay, please. Okay, I hope for all participants, we can turning on our camera, because we will take a picture for a while before we start our activities. We have 54 participants, and I hope. Oh, this is the notification. Total on-video participant 44. It's still a lot of participants still turn off their camera. Okay, we are waiting for complete participant. Okay, 1 minute. Maybe less than 1 minute. Okay, still 39 more participants. Please turn on your camera. Okay, I think we have a limited time. Okay, I will take a picture for this session. 3, 2, 1. Print screen. Okay. Then, okay, I think no more than no more than half. Maybe they have a problem with the connection. Well, ladies and gentlemen, and Bapak Ibu sekalian, this is for the information. This is the last series for, how to say, this is the last series of 3-in-1 program from economics, finance, and banking, especially from undergraduate program, Faculty of Economics and Business of Universitas Brawijaya. And then, as a moderator, I will introduce our informant or our speaker. He is Professor Someya. I hope I'm not make a mistake of pronunciation. He's from Nagoya University. Good morning, Prof. Someya. How are you?
Thank you very much for invitations.
Okay, I hope everything is on the fit and good condition. Also, for all participants. And then in this session, we are going to talking about experiences. I think this is like how to say, private or not private. This is the Professor Somya experiences of working at World Bank. So every student they can get a proper sufficient information about uh, how to, I mean, this is like a sharing session to get information like experiences how to work in international organization like World Bank. And I hope all of you, all of students, we can follow this agenda, and then I think all of you have a lot of questions that will be asked to Prof. Somaya. And then for this session, Prof. Somaya have 2 hours, if I'm not mistaken. So the time allocation is 2 hours, and we will end at 11 EM. Include Q&A. Okay, maybe we can start our session. Please, Sumia, this time is yours.
Okay, thank you very much. Your introduction, Dr. Nugroho. All right, let me start to share with you guys my experience at the World Bank as well as my job, and which is actually World Bank, a job of the World Bank to all of the students in Brawijaya University. Okay, let me share the screen first. Okay, okay, so okay. All right. So I worked in the World Bank from 1998 to 2007. And then perhaps all of you guys are very much curious about how I got the job there, right? Uh, Actually, it's surprising. All right. I was in the PhD program of the Nagoya University. Excuse me. At the time. And then it was my third year. I was actually printing my papers in order to to make a presentation at the defense on the sixth floor. And then Professor Otsubo, who used to work at the World Bank and who came to Nagoya University that year, he we had some brief chat, maybe 5-6 minutes, and then he at the end of our conversation he asked me, "What are you going to do, Somya-san?" Then I said, "Well, I'm busy with finishing up my PhD thesis. I have no agenda or no nothing decided yet." And then Professor Otto asked me, I said, "Would you like to work at the World Bank?" Well, no one can say no, right? I mean, everyone can. Well, so I said, well, if that's possible, of course, I'd like to work at the World Bank. And then he told me to send him a writing sample, and then he gave a call that he said his colleague is going to interview you on the phone. Yeah, at that time we didn't have a Zoom like this, so we had we are. I mean, I was we had a interview on the phone. So I had a couple of weeks to prepare for the interview. My English was very poor. Mine is still poor, but even poorer. And then that's why actually I prepared a kind of note, and then when he asked this one about my PhD, my answer is like this. Yeah, and then I wrote everything, and then I also did virtual interviews. It's not just I wrote everything down on my paper, but also every day I repeated my answer in my room, which actually scares my neighbors because every night, maybe 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, I was talking to myself. So maybe my neighbor was very curious and scared, maybe. Um, on the
So,
on
Professor,
the
sorry,
yeah.
this in this session we have a different how to say a model with previous model because this is like a job sharing your real experiences when you
Yes.
were in work bank. So it's like a maybe we will talk and like a how to say talk show. It's like so maybe and apologize if I interrupt your sentences in the middle of in the middle of your speaking. So because I need to give some emphasis that for making sure that our student they understand about this is the most important thing that uh, they have to they have to have for how to work in international graduation like a work thing. So the first thing is how we speak in English fluently and how to do that with like speak with ourselves in front of mirror. This is what you did at the past. Okay.
Okay. All right. Let me. I think this is very important
Yeah.
because that's why I'm actually talking about this
Hmm.
because everyone, well, when you think working at
Hmm.
the World Bank, maybe you think you have to go through
Hmm.
kind of formal process, right? And then we have a formal process, but this is part of my speech. I mean, talk later on, but 90% of World Bank staff comes through arm length introductions. It's not through the sort of formal process. And then I was one of them. So that's why actually I'm and then I'm talking about this so that students in Bravija University can think, hey, it's not too difficult. I could be working at the World Bank. That's my motive for this to talk about this. Yeah. If you don't mind, I can move on. Can I move on this?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
sure,
thank you very
sure,
much. Of course,
sure.
I'll talk about skills required at the World Bank too. Yeah, but that part is actually only 10 minutes. Yeah,
Okay.
so if I focus on that, I have to finish in 10 minute time.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay, sure, sure,
So
sure.
let me, and then also I'm going to talk about skills as well
Yeah.
as World Bank job. Yeah, and then activity at the World Bank.
Okay, okay.
All right. So, okay. So, I prepared a lot, and then on the interview day, I had a call from the interviewers, and then he told me he was my actually boss after I joined the World Bank, and then he told me, how are you? And then I said, I'm fine, sir. And then he told me, are you coming to the World Bank, Washington, D.C.? And then I said, if you let me, then okay, I'll see you in Washington 3 months time. That's all. So, what I prepared was actually wasted. Yeah. So this is how I got a job. In 3 months later, I was in Washington, started working at the World Bank. At that time, I had a sort of 1 day guidance to work at the World Bank. And then on that day, I was one of the group. Actually, altogether, we are 40 to 50 staff. So that means actually World Bank uh, during 160 days, each day, every day, except for weekend, Saturday and Sunday, every day the World Bank receive 50 staff. That means actually maybe 49 people are retiring or leaving the World Bank. So it's actually a very high rate of job turnover at the World Bank. Yeah. Okay. So I started working at the World Bank, and then um, um, I was in the macroeconomics. I was a macroeconomist in social economic development division, Middle East and North Africa Vice Presidency, the World Bank, and well, as I said, my English was very very poor, and but you well, how we do the job at the World Bank is actually uh, people talk each other, and then if you agree, you work for him. So this is a way. Your your boss doesn't commit to give you the job, which is case in case of Japan. Yeah, so you have to talk, and then you lots of people stop by your office and then say, hey, would you please do this? Would you please do that? Do this and analyze this and get the data like this, and then my English was very, very poor. So that's why actually I kept saying, hey, I'm busy currently. So I'm going to give me an email and then I will respond to you. So, my listening English was very poor. So that's why actually I preferred my colleague writing to me. And then, so this is how started. And then I was initially data manager. If you say data manager, looks like a big shot, but that is the kind of research assisting job. Yeah, your senior economists come to you and then ask him to get GDP data or inflation data, something like that. Yeah. And I was a data bank for Algeria, Morocco, Tunisia, Egypt, Jordan, Yemen, Iraq, Lebanon. So all actually Muslim countries, because well, except for well, we don't have Israel. Yeah? So all Muslim countries, because we are in Middle East and North Africa, and then one of my biggest duty is current country assistance strategies. Um, Particularly in this work, I was in charge of forecasting GDP as well as budget. Uh, so why this is important? Because as you guys know, World Bank is lending institutions, and then we have to estimate how much country need, how much dollars or how much money country needs. In order to do that, you have to have a budget estimations. Yeah, revenue minus expenditures. Revenue is actually function of GDP. So you have to you have to estimate, forecast GDP first, then revenue second. Then you're gonna have a budget deficit, which is going to be a part of borrowing of the countries. So that's what I was doing. And then also I was in charge, I was involved in, analysis on the impact of Iraqi war on neighboring countries. 2004, we had Iraqi war, and the World Bank was actually estimating the impact of war on neighboring countries so that we had to help neighboring countries. Then when the Iraq war finished, we had a international conference at Baghdad together with the UN. And then I was Iraq team. So my boss told me, would you like to come? I was supposed to go, but because I had troubles in Jordanian data, GDP forecasting data, so I decided to stay in order to finish my task on the GDP forecasting for Jordan. So I didn't go. My boss went there. And then on the first conference meeting day, the building he was in, then the meeting was held, was exploded. But my boss was, so one of my bank staff, our bank staff was killed. But my boss wasn't, because luckily the conference needed chairs. So he went back to his office, his room, to get the chair. So he wasn't killed. But soon after explosions, he went out and then take a taxi to go to Jordan, and then he flew to Washington D.C. from Jordan. This explosion happened on Saturday, and then when I came to my office on Monday, he was already working in his office. So, and then he told me at the Baghdad, Iraq, you have to always carry $3,000 in cash, as well as passport. So that's why actually he didn't go back to his room when he saw explosion, and then took taxi. Well, this is part of World Bank job. It's not really the dangers always, but once, I mean, the job at the developing countries is not always safe. Well, working in Japan is not always safe nowadays because of COVID-19. You might get killed because of COVID-19. So so that's maybe you can see how the job at the World Bank. Okay, one of my job was actually debt sustainability analysis. As I said, the job at the World Bank is actually lending. So when you lend some to developing countries, in 80s, 90s, we had a issue called debt crisis. So we can lend, but once these borrowers get into defaults, it's gonna affect all financial market, in the international financial market. So that's why actually before we decide to lend to the countries, we have to analyze if this country can pay back. So that was my job. And then that job need to work on the public financial management project too, because how you reduce budget deficit. Yeah? This is we need a kind of management skills or management innovations or reforms. That's part of the public financial management project. Mine was actually e-government because at that time, let's say in case of Jordan, Jordanian ministries had a different standard of accounting. Sometimes Ministry of Planning was actually taken accrual basis, while Ministry of Finance taking a cash basis. All right, the difference between accrual basis accounting and cash basis accounting is actually cash basis, you just account cash inflow, cash outflow. But accrual basis, not only cash, but also liability and asset. Well, that means actually you don't pay debt yet, but you record debt liability, debt service in your balance sheet. So that gives you bigger picture of the budget. So many ministry at the Jordan in Jordan were using different accounting standard. So that's why actually e-government project, which is going to connects all the ministries in Jordan in online. But the issue in connecting all the ministry in Jordan was actually different accounting method. So we decide to have a project to have a same accounting method for all the ministries in Jordan. So let's see. Right. So that's what I done. What I did at the World Bank. All right. If you have a question, please, you can always ask me because my presentation for 90 minutes from 5 past 9 to 35 past 10, 10:35 is going to be divided into three. My experience and the skills at the World Bank, as well as the job at, work at the World Bank. So each I have three different topics. So each time you can ask me, I can make a question to me. I can answer. Okay, so this is what I did at the World Bank. All right, and then so maybe you guys, all of you guys are curious about um, how you guys can get the job at the World Bank, right? All right. In my case, yes, I was introduced. As I said, this in my conversation with Dr. Nugoro, actually, this is very popular way how you get the job at the World Bank. Yeah. At the World Bank or ADB, IMF, all the international agencies, there is a called young professional or professional program where you apply. Maybe you have to be less than 32 years old. You apply for the job through this recruitment window, and then maybe 30 or 50 people every year go through all the discussions, examinations, interviews, writing samples, and then get the job. But that's actually only maybe 3 to 5% of World Bank staff. Yeah. So 95%, more than 90% of World Bank staff were actually got a job through introduction, like me. But if you introduce someone who is not very capable, then they never ask you for introduction. Yeah. So that in this way, you can control the quality of the bank staff. Okay. All right. I'll show you how you can get you as long. You first of all you need to have a master degree first. You cannot with undergraduate degree you cannot get into the international institutions. Let me show you how you apply for World Bank. All right, this is a job at the World Bank. Yep. If you let, okay, all right, let me, perhaps I'll show you from the Google. Okay. Mm, okay. Oh, we cannot. Okay, here, right? Okay, we cannot do that, I guess. That's fine. Maybe. All right. If you Google World Bank jobs, then you will find this um, screen. Then, all right, you choose here. You choose jobs here for job seekers, right? Then you will get this screen. And then let's say World Bank is looking for someone for Bangkok, Thailand, consultant. This is the job I started out. Yeah. I started out as a consultant for 1 year, and then following year I was converted to the regular positions. Let's open this one, and then okay, we don't have okay, I didn't have make it, but when you open this job, then you will see the selection criteria. Yeah. They said for this position, you should have demonstrated outstanding technical skills, a capacity to operate successfully across sectors, which is important because World Bank have lots of special experts, economists, educational specialists, engineers, financial officers, or maybe water specialists, environmental specialists, urban specialists. So you have to talk with other people from other sectors, and then with other development partners. Not only your colleague have a diverse background, but also you have to talk with your client that is actually developing country government. Yeah. And so that's why actually first-rated interpersonal skills, that is crucial. You must be able to interact effectively with senior member of the World Bank. Well, I don't know in Indonesia, but in case of Japan, boss doesn't have much power in terms of human resource promotions, but World Bank boss is the has a power to to promote you downgrade you. So you have to talk with your you have to have a good skill to talk with your boss. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Then look at minimum of master degree in economics with 5 years of relevant professional experience. Well, this is required for even for consultant, but honestly speaking, I didn't have any experience. Well, I had a 2 year experience in working in the bank, but in the commercial banks, but you know, having master degree is, you must have you must have a master degree, but uh, 5 years of professional experience, it could be 2 years, 3 years. It's not mandatory. Yes, if you have a 5 years of relevant professional experience, it's going to be great. Then technical skills. Yeah. Technical skills on macroeconomic, fiscal, and growth issues. Yeah. Of course, you are economists. You work on economic analysis. You have to have skills. You have to know the theory. You have to know the uh, data. And then sense of initiatives, result orientation, leadership qualities. Well, you have to have although you are member of the team, but sometimes you have to lead with your uh, um, um, colleagues when it comes to your work. And then teamwork skills is very important. Um, People hate someone who is not very cooperative, because usually we do the World Bank staff do the job in team, not individual. So that's why teamwork skills is very important. Communication skills, of course, and then particularly excellent communication and the presentational skills, both verbally and written. This is very important. All right, written. So World Bank, your contribution is always done through report writing. So writing report is crucial. Even though you are very good in economic analysis, but your writing, English writing is very poor, then you are not going to be you are not going to get promotions. The writing is very important. For that reason, I don't know Indonesian people, but Japanese guys are very bad at writing. So among Japanese community, we had 200 staff at the World Bank. World Bank has 10,000 people, staff. And then we had only 200. And among Japanese community, we have a common Word document where whenever we find a nice expressions, yeah, we put this expression to this list of the expressions, yeah, and then everyone contributes. Then we had maybe 20 to 30 pages of expression book. So in this way, we were trying to improve our writing skills. Okay. Excellent. All right. So, and then also, yeah, persuasive verbal skills for persuasion, because World Bank, you are not waiting for the job to come. You are the driver of the job. That means actually you have to create your own job. Yeah, that has to be consistent to development strategy of the partner countries. So you have a good idea for the project, but you have to have an agreement from the countries. So you present, and then presentation has to be very persuasive, so that in order to for you to have a to create a job or project. So that's why actually presentational skills is very important. And then World Bank has a lots of training course on presentations. So you can take, when you get into the World Bank, you can take it. And also you have to work on multiple tasks. Your job, like me, my job is actually data manager, but initially for first couple of years, but I have to work on the trade analysis on Jordan. I have to work on the debt sustainability analysis in Egypt, in addition to my debt manager work. So you have to, you have to do the multitask. And then high degree of self-motivations, positive attitude and drive. All right, self-motivation is very important. Why? Perhaps usually I ask somebody to talk. That in that way, people understand. All right, because let's say if you take a look at what the topics of World Development Report for last 50 years, it actually swing. Sometimes infrastructure, sometimes education, sometimes labor markets, sometimes financial markets, sometimes financial inclusion, So, all right, maybe at the graduate school, you learn finance, but once you get into the World Bank, you are not always working on the finance. You may be working on trade. Yeah. How can you switch from finance to trade? Well, how? What is important in swinging research topics from finance to trade, or from trade to fiscal issues? Yeah. What is required? What do you have to have in order to switch your topics? Well, you can imagine 50 years, of course, your job will swing. I mean, your job will change, right? And then, well, at the World Bank, what I found is actually you have to have a very good basic, let's say macroeconomics or microeconomics. If you are very good at macro, micro, and statistical econometric analysis, then maybe you need to read, maybe, okay, when your background is finance, but you got a job on agriculture. In that case, maybe you have to read the textbook on agriculture, maybe, or book on agriculture, maybe 3 books for 3 months. After 3 months, you can be a professional. That way, people work on different tasks, different research topics. So you have to have a very high degree of self-motivations. You don't read the text, you read textbook, you don't read on books, then you cannot develop the skill required for new work. Okay. So at the end of, well, I worked in the World Bank for about 10 years. What might the skills required at the World Bank? 8. Professional quality. That's actually economic analysis if you are economist. And then professional integrity. Don't lie. Yeah. Sometimes you don't lie, but how you handle data is actually you are lying. Yeah. You have to be very, very honest in terms of data handling. You don't pick up countries. If you need a maybe 50 countries, you don't need you shouldn't pick up your country by your own judgment. You pick up the country because you know that using have a crystal clear criterion such as income per capita from 3,000 to 5,000, something like that. And also, of course, you don't lie to your colleague. If you lie to your colleague, you lose your job. People never ever let you work with them. Yeah. So integrity is crucial. The drive to the result. Well, this is not the school. So, no matter how many hours you work, as long as you have no result, or you are not valued by your colleague. You have to have a result, and in order to make a result, you have to work very hard. Okay, conducting multiple tasks at the same time. As I said, this is the true in every international institutions. Working in a multicultural environment, sometimes, all right, maybe you are used to work in Indonesian environment. I am used to work in the Japanese environment, but sometimes it's not easy to work with someone from different cultures. Yeah. You have to understand they have a different idea. So by incorporating the difference between you and your colleague, then you can talk, and then you can communicate each other. Okay, you have to be a team player, and then, as I said, communication skills and writing skills. Well, maybe you guys this is the criterion you need. You need to be evaluated. Maybe, I think, as Dr. Nugroho mentioned, how you improve skills, how you improve English writing is actually it's up to you. Well, in my case, I gave example, right? We made the expression book. In this way, we tried to improve our English writing skills. And economics, there are many ways to improve, right? Some people work many different projects. Well, that's actually the on-the-job training. But some people read, yeah, at home the textbook. So it's up to you. And then there's no one, unique way to improve quality. You have your own way to improve your quality. Yeah. So it's up to you. Nobody can tell you. And then nobody, at the World Bank, nobody teaches you how to improve writing skills. Yeah. You have to do it yourself. That's actually skills. The skills to improve the skills is important. Yeah. Okay. Strategy in getting a job at the World Bank. Let me talk about this. All right. Well, in GSID in Nagano University, we have lots of students from different countries, and then they are all interested in getting a job at the World Bank or maybe international institutions. They tell me when they are beginning of this study, which one, theory or applied subject to take during 2 years of master program. I would say it depends on you. As I said, there's no unique way to get a job in international institutions, but it depends. If you go into job or after a master, then better to take an applied subject, which is going to help you. Because let's say international institution is looking for someone who knows agriculture. Better to have a knowledge on agriculture. So take agriculture, then graduate, then you can get a job. Yeah. But if you are interested in doing a PhD, then I would suggest you take theories, macro, micro, econometrics. Yeah. Okay. that is not gonna help you for finding the job in international institution, but that is going to help you how you survive when you try to survive in the institutions. As I said, research topics moves, changes, swings. So you have to have a different skill portfolio. You have a knowledge on finance. Finance knowledge doesn't keep you at the job for 20, 30 years. You have to change in order to adjust. I mean, by to adjusting your skill portfolio to the job work environment is crucial. Yeah. For this reason, theory. If you know the theory is the basic for all the uh, subject. There's a theory. Macro, micro helps you when you study trade theory or trade analysis. Macro, micro helps you when you do the economic analysis on the debt. Macro, micro helps you when you work on poverty. Yeah. So that's why actually, if you are interested in PhD and then going into the uh, research job at the international institution, takes theory and econometrics, particularly econometrics and your knowledge on Excel or eView, which is the econometric software, or Stata, which is statistical software, are crucial. Because, okay, maybe you are very good, but when you graduate from master program, your knowledge on agriculture is very limited. Your Maybe your boss who has been working in the agriculture area for more than 40 years, maybe you are better than him in terms of capability, but for sure he knows a lot. Yeah. So so that's why actually that's why actually when you work on the agriculture, so taking a um, applied subject maybe helps when you try to find a job, but theory helps you when you stay in the World Bank, yeah, in the international institutions. How to build expertise? Well, um, that is actually related to what I mentioned before. Yep. That's actually, you need to read, you need to learn, you need to study every time when you have a new subject. And then most of my colleagues and my bosses advise me, when you have a problem, always go back to the textbook. And then women or men, as you know, many institutions are short of female staff. So if both female student, male student who both have the same capability applied for the job in international institutions, women is going to be taken. So, and then people from industry countries or people from developing countries, of course, we have so many staff from developing industry countries. So, two person, one person from Japan, another person from Indonesia, both have the same capability. Then, of course, the one from Indonesia is going to get a job. And then to get a job, people said, "Do I need a quality?" Yes, you need a quality, but what is more important is actually you apply many times. Yeah, because let's say every what I showed you right now, in terms of young economists, 4 jobs were available. You saw it, right? This one. Oh, 5 jobs available. Yeah. For next or this month actually. Yeah. 5 jobs is available, and then everyone in the world can access to this screen. So that means actually so many people apply for this job. Well, you are good, but you are good enough, but the probability you get the job is actually just 1% or maybe less than 1%. But if you have a 1% of probability to get a job, then, well, mathematics says you apply 100 times, and then you get the job, right? So that's why actually, when of course, it's impossible to get a job upon your graduation from the master's thesis, unless you have lucky like myself. Yeah. But I've seen so many people, after graduation, they work in the banking sector, or they work in the government sector or public sector. Then, every year they keep applying. But then at the end, well, 3, 4, 5 years later, they got a job. And then quality required at the World Bank is not 1% of the, all the, how can I say, applicant. You know, as long as you are good, you have to be good, then you have a quality. Then the rest is actually the matter of probability. So that's why actually I would suggest you apply many times. By the way, we are 40 to, well, let's say in Graduate School of International Development at Nagoya University, we have 1 year, we have 100 students. Yeah. And then we started the program 25 years ago. So during 25 years, we produced 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. During 25 years, we produced 8 World Bank staff, all economists. One includes actually from Indonesia. Yeah. My friend Andin Hadianto, he did PhD in GSID, Graduate School of International Development, Nagoya University. He got a job. He was actually seconded. I mean, well, he was sent from the government sector, and then 20 years he was working in the government, and then eventually he got the job as a executive director at the World Bank. He was a big shot in the World Bank. He was the head of the Indonesian representative office at the World Bank. Yeah. So and then when I was in the World Bank, I know one Indonesian lady staff working in the I think she was working on the education sector. So it's not too difficult. I would say some of you, I mean, you guys study in a Graduate School of Economy, Graduate School of International Development, Nagoya University. You have a good probability to get a job after your graduation. Okay, let me introduce World Bank to you. I have 40 minutes. Yeah. Okay. All right. The mission statement: to fight poverty with passion and the professionalism of lasting results, to help people help themselves and their environment by providing resources, sharing knowledge, building capacity, forging partnerships in the public and private sector. So this is the mission statement. Well, what is important here is actually self-reliance. Perhaps, okay, World Bank comes to the Indonesia and they build a school and then go. What the other side of this project? Let us, please think about what is the other side of this project. World Bank come to the Indonesia, builds thousands of schools, and then go. What is the bad? What is not? What is other side of this? Someone? Okay. Perhaps. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Anybody? It's okay. Don't worry about it. Yeah, of course. You have a school hardware, right? But who teaches? Yeah. And then, you have a building, but what education is not the building, but teach, right? Okay, let's say World Bank came and then built 1,000 schools, and then they gave a budget to hire 1,000, well, 1 million, 10,000, I mean, teachers. That's all. What is the problem? The problem is, okay, teacher, do they have skills? You have to worry about skills. Yeah. And then okay, this is another side, another adverse side of this project is actually, okay, one downside is actually question of the skills of the teachers. Right? Another side, school continue forever, 100 years, right? After these guys, these teachers go or retire, do we have a system to train teachers? Well, if we don't have a system to train teachers, then these 10,000 student, teachers retire, then these schools are not sustainable. And then so for every project we have to have the angle of sustainability. So that means actually, okay, you got the money from the World Bank, but system for the sustainability, you have to build it yourself. That's actually part of self-reliance. You don't depend. Okay, you can depend on a school building, yes, but you are the driver. The country is the driver for to continue the project in a sustainable way. All right. So history of the World Bank. Over the time, IBRD was joined by. Oh, did I mention IBRD? Oh, maybe I didn't. All right. IBRD was joined by 4 other affiliate to compose World Bank Group. Okay, IBRD. Oh, maybe I skipped one. No, I didn't. Maybe I deleted by mistake. Okay, IBRD is the formal name of the World Bank. World Bank is not a formal name. International Bank for Reconstruction and Development. International Bank for Reconstruction and Development. You understand development, right? What does reconstruction means? Reconstruction is because, well, I didn't. Okay. Yeah, here. Okay. Maybe I should have. This is the one. International Bank for Reconstruction and Development was created along with the International Monetary Fund in July 1944 at Bretton Woods, a small town in New Hampshire, as a core institution in designing future international financial structures. Actually, this is World Bank and IMF was created soon after World War II. Yeah? So reconstruction means actually reconstructing those countries devastated by the World War II, including Japan as well as European countries. Mostly this is meant for European countries. And then, all right. So now we have 4 other institutions, which is International Development Associations, which is for heavily indebted, least developed countries. And then the financial instrument for IBRD is actually lending. Yeah, but IDA, International Development Associations, their chief financial instrument is actually not lending, but grant, which you don't have to pay. International finance corporations. This is for private sector development. Okay, World Bank can only lend money to the government, not the private sector. Yeah. So, but economic development is actually by chief engine, main engine of economic development is not government, but private sector. So private sector, in order to grow, private sector need money. So for this reason, International Finance Corporation (IFC) was established, and then multilateral investment guarantee agencies. It's actually, as you guys maybe know, FDI is one of the significant engine for growth. And then FDI is actually foreign direct investment. Toyota comes to Indonesia, and then when the company from another country go to Indonesia, there is always frictions. So in order to help countries as well as company solve the problem coming from different culture or different business, multilateral investment guarantee agency was set up to guarantee FDI as well as solve problem. International Center for Settlement and Investment Dispute. This is one of the this was one of the function in multilateral investment guarantee agency, but separated later on. Okay, so we have International Bank for Reconstruction and Development. We have 186 members. And then we have these International Development Association, International Finance Corporation, multilateral investment guarantee agencies, International Center for Settlement of Investment Dispute. Okay, history. Okay, then let me talk about history of the World Bank operations. Its first loan, World Bank first loan of 250 million was to France in 1947, soon after the World War II. So France is now the donor, but it was actually borrower. Reconstruction, part of the official name of the World Bank, IBRD, was reminded as an important focus of World Bank work, given the natural disaster, humanitarian emergencies, post-conflict rehabilitation need that affects developing and transition economies. All right, initial days of the World Bank history's main client were European countries. However, as the Marshall Plan started, bank operations shifted to non-European countries. Today, institutional objective is more sharpened to poverty alleviations. Okay, Marshall Plan. Marshall Plan was an American scheme for helping European countries. What it is actually, all right, U.S. Army mobilized their resource across the European countries. They had maybe tank or cars in Germany, France, Italy, in order to send back these weapons and machines to United States. It costs a lot. So U.S. government decided to sell these weapons in Europe, and then made a fund. So they sold all their weapons, and then had a maybe billion of fund, which they U.S. government can lend to European countries for reconstruction purpose. So that's why actually financing needs by the European countries are met by this Marshall Plan. So that's why actually this is a kind of reason why World Bank started to working for developing countries. Poverty alleviations. Most of the staff in this period were engineers and the financial analysts, like commercial banks, based solely in Washington, D.C. Today, it has a much more diverse staff, including economists, public policies expert, sectoral expert, education specialists, social scientists. 40% of staff are now based in country offices. 40% means actually 4,000 people work in the country office now. Okay, right. World Bank business was much more politically affected, reflected by the Cold War at that time between West and East. Loans were in the past sometimes politically approved. So particularly in 1940s and 50s, World Bank are not giving loan to Eastern sphere. That's actually Soviet Union at that time and Eastern Europe. World Bank operations were almost the same as commercial banks at that time, applying many and strict financial conditions to borrowers with close monitoring on how the loans were used. Well, um, um, clear mandate at current World Bank is actually poverty alleviations. Yeah? But at that time, it wasn't. The operation was like commercial banks. We lend you and you pay back. That just like commercial banks. And then most operations were income generating, such as infrastructure building, rather than poverty reducing elevations in these days. So, you know, perhaps you can imagine um, uh, state-owned banks, state-owned development bank. Uh, World Bank was just like a state-owned development bank. They are focusing on infrastructure in these days, 1940s and 50s. Okay, right. Oh, sorry. What something? Let me check.
It's okay, Professor. You
Okay.
still have enough time.
Yeah. Well, I think somehow I'm actually this. Okay. This is actually skipping one or a few slides, but okay, that's okay. Okay, so so 1940s and 50s, the World Bank operation were more like infrastructure, about infrastructure building, yeah, and then 1970s when we had president what's the name? Well, I don't remember. He was the state agent. I mean, he was a secretary of state, which is actually foreign minister of the Kennedy administrations. McNamara, yeah, McNamara. He was a very well sharp person who used to work in the Kennedy administration as Secretary of the State, which is a foreign minister, came to the president of the World Bank. One of his advocates is actually focusing on poverty. 5 priorities he set up: target the poor and vulnerable, create opportunity for growth, promote global collection action, strengthen governance. Well, why is the governance important? Well, we talk about later on. Prepare for crisis. These are the 5 new priorities set by McNamara. Right now, maybe we should work on maybe before, maybe this is too easy, too short. Yeah. Okay. So 70s, 60s, 70s, McNamara came, and then World Bank operation was shifted to the poverty alleviations. Yeah. And then one of the strategy at that time is actually getting the price right. What is it? What is it? Is actually, let's say in 70s, at that time, many developing countries were using restriction on the market. Yeah? And then also subsidy. Perhaps this is the same in Indonesia too. Particularly oil producing countries, they use subsidy a lot. Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's say subsidy to the petrol, gasoline. I don't know in your, well, I know your Indonesia reduced, but in 70, 80, in many countries, particularly for oil producing countries, petrol price was heavily subsidized. Yeah. What's wrong with this subject? Anyone can tell me what wrong with this subject in terms of poverty alleviations?
Yeah. Okay, anyone can answer it? What happened with gasoline and then petroleum
Yeah.
at that time? Who can answer it? Come on.
Okay.
Good repression.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. Well, let's say subsidy to gasoline. Yeah. For car. Yeah. And then subsidy to the electricity. It seems good. Good policy, right?
Yeah.
People don't have to pay for gasoline, or people don't have to pay for electricity, and then they can buy more food, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But that is not good. Why? Because think about who drive the car. The guy who make only $10 per year, do they have a poor guy? Do they have a car? No, right? And then poor people, low income people do not use lots of appliances. So poor people don't use, low income people do not use electricity. So what the policy that seems good is actually helping rich people, high income people. So, that's not good, right? All right. So, and then another things, well, subsidy is to some extent very important, but high subsidy to everything is not a good policy. At that time, so the World Bank operation is actually to utilize market functions rather than ad hoc policy. Yeah. So okay, and then that's actually market oriented. It's called market oriented lending policy. That was that seemed good initially, but this became unsuccessful. Why? Because all right, the reform to introduce market function was conducted by the government, and then the government wasn't very efficient or effective in terms of implementing reforms. So that's why actually in the 70s, market-oriented lending policy was in 80s shifted to governance-oriented policy, 80s, 90s. And then in also one of the problem in 80s was actually debt crisis. Latin American countries accumulated lots of debt, and that's why actually some of the Latin American country went into defaults. So at that time, World Bank, IMF were criticized. Hey, you guys lend too much, and then building the infrastructure. Okay, building infrastructure is important, which because infrastructure helps productivity increase, yeah, so that income of the country goes up, and then this the income gain can be trickled down to low income people. But actually, we didn't find any evidence that low income people benefited from this economic growth driven by the infrastructure. So, and then that's why actually World Bank operation and IMF operation were criticized in 80s as it increased the debt problem. It intensified the debt problem. So well, one of the problem at that time the World Bank found is actually the money lent to borrowed by the government wasn't used in an effective way. So for this reason, World Bank shifted the strategy from market-oriented lending strategy to governance-oriented development strategy, lending strategies. What is it? It's actually like this. Okay, government, let's say Jordanian government wants to borrow from the World Bank. In that case, okay, we can lend it, but one condition, that is, okay, you have to have a pension system, something like that. So whenever they borrow, the government, developing country government borrow, this borrowing comes always with conditions. It's conditionality. It's called structural adjustment lending. Yeah, and then this also seems nice in and then also one of the upside of this lending is actually previously World Bank lending borrowing were actually only for project, building a road or building airports, something like this. Yeah, but this structure adjustment lending was actually used for budget support, which means government doesn't have any project, but they can borrow with conditions. Yeah. And then maybe, as you guys knows, the use of loan in private sector is twofold. One, they are going to build a new factory or buy capital equipment. Yeah. Another one, okay, you have a money. In terms of solvency, no problem. But the money, because you have an account receivable, which means actually, okay, you sold the sale, but the person who buy your product hasn't paid. So that's why actually you are short of cash, right? This is called working capital, right? Working capital. So in order for just cash need, they sometimes borrow from the banks, right? So this kind of budgetary support, which comes with conditionality, were very, very popular in 80s and 90s. And but the scheme is good, but conditionality were sometimes not well elaborated, and then recipient country were very much kind of hateful in terms of imposing conditionality. They take it as a sort of interventions by the foreigner to politics. Yeah. But in 80s, in 70s, 80s, 90s, this kind of structured lending was very popular in terms of budget support. And then after 2000, the trend was actually more like a social protections. So as I mentioned, previously, most of the conditionality were about government reform. Let's say, you have to have a democratic election system, something like that. But after 2000, the conditionality become more like a socially oriented. Like you have to have a pension system, or you have to have a let's say debt. Fiscal rule that is government budget. Government debt has to be less than 60% of GDP, something like that. So in this, more like, because many countries have gone through debt crisis. So, and then also Asian crisis. So that's why actually after 2000, conditionality become more like more socially oriented. And then which still is World Bank, in the World Bank. Okay, so right now, World Bank, the president is David Malpass, 11th president of the World Bank. World Bank is owned by 180 country shareholder like USA, like Indonesia, represented by the board of governors. All right. World Bank is run by board of executive directors, 24 board of executive directors, and the president under power delegated to them by the board of governors. Okay, as maybe you guys know this, international politics. The president of the World Bank is always American. Perhaps Mr. before David Malpass, Mr. Malpass, Mr. Park, well, Mr. Lee was president, but his origin was in Korea, but actually he was American. He was American citizen. So and on the other hand, maybe you know who is the governor of the IMF. IMF governor, well, managing director is actually always from Europe. Yeah, and then to be shameful, myself, the governor, well, governor of the president of the Asian Development Bank is always from Japan. So you know this tells you something about international politics, right? Well, you know, they are actually colluded. Yeah, Japan, United States, and the European country colluded, so that all the president of the World Bank comes from U.S. citizen, and the managing director of the IMF comes from Europe, and then president of the ADB comes from Japan. Yeah, so you know, I guess World Bank, ADB, and IMF always tells current countries to improve governance, right? When you have a criticism like this, you can tell, hey, improve your own governance, right? It's not, well, you know, the governor, the president of the three institutions were not decided in a, democratic way. It's more like companies. You have a more shareholder, so you can decide the president, right? But that's not really, maybe that's not democratic, but actually that is the practice for the companies, right? Company, if you have a more shareholder, then you have a more voice on the managers. So this is, and then, all right. On the other hand, United Nations, their governor is determined by the democratic way. That's why actually U.S. UN secretary were always from many cases from developing countries. Yeah, and one from Myanmar, one from Korea, one from Egypt. Yeah, so but the problem of UN was actually they are very weak in terms of finance. All right. The UN secretary is determined by the democratic way, but the money comes from UN, US, and the European country, Japan, right? And then one of the instrument, well, what US always said is, all right, US have some agenda for UN to do, but let's say but when the UN said, hey, we cannot do it, yeah, then what United States or maybe Japan and big shareholder like a European country, Japan, US do is actually, okay, if you don't take my voice, if you don't take my advice, then I'm not gonna pay. Yeah, so that's that's what happened in many cases. Yeah, if the shareholder do not pay, UN cannot work. Well, they have to pay to their staff, right? But no money, right? So to some extent, they have to take the order. Well, you have to listen to the United States sometimes. So actually, democratic governance doesn't always necessarily means they can work effectively. But on the other hand, okay, World Bank has a problem in terms of governance, but their work is very quick and effective. They have a money. Well, yeah, and then UN do not lend money. They can advise, but they don't money. They don't lend the money. And then, well, well, you know, building the infrastructure or building the nation is not is you need the money, right? So to be good or bad, we visit Jordan, right? Jordanian government officials always take care of us, but someone from UN come to the Jordan. They are alone. Well, we can see Minister of Finance, but they cannot. Well, because the money is behind us. So this kind of I'm not saying which one is good, but although maybe Indonesian government or maybe Chinese government is required by or criticized by the UN or World Bank for maybe democracy angle, but World Bank is not democratic. It's companies, so that's why actually the country which has the more share can influence the decisions. Yeah. Okay. Voting power. United States has 15.85%, Japan 6.84, China 4.42. So this is exactly how the World Bank is managed. United States, it looks like US share is only 15, but as I said, Japan, US, and the European countries are colluded. So look at if you sum up 15 from United States, 6 from Japan, 4 from Germany, 4 from UK, 4 from France, then 2 from Italy. It's gonna be more than 40%, right? So which means actually you can have a strong power in governance. Okay. All right. And then how? Okay, this is a capital, right? And then, as you know, company work not on out of capital, right? They work on the sales, right? And also, yeah. So, what is the money, monetary? I mean, financial resources World Bank has in order to implement execute their work. Actually, they issue World Bank bond, which is rated triple three. Yeah. So what they do, World Bank does is actually World Bank issue the bond at maybe 1%. Yeah, that's very very low for 10 years, right? Then lend it to developing country at 1.1%. Yeah. So World Bank gain is actually 0.1%. And then, okay, this is quite good. Why? Because most of the developing countries do not they have because of their very high risk premium, they cannot issue 1%. I mean, the bond. Well, many of the developing countries cannot issue their bond in international capital market. Only maybe country more than middle income country can issue, but because of risk premium, their interest rate is much higher than that of the World Bank. So if let's say Jordan, well, Iraq, in case of Iraq, I worked on Iraq. If the Iraqi, well, a couple of years ago, Iraq issued 5-year bond at the international capital market. The interest rate was actually 10%, but Iraq borrowed a loan from the World Bank. The interest rate is actually 3%, much cheaper, and also maturity is huge different. In case of Eurobond, which is actually Iraqi bond issued in international capital market in US dollar, is actually only 3 years maturity. But as you know, World Bank, if you Iraq loan from the World Bank has a maturity 30 years, and then first 10 years is grace period. You don't have to pay, make a repayment. You have to keep paying interest payment, but you don't have to pay for repayment. Yeah. So actually, the financial term on the loan from the World Bank is much better than um, the financial term developing country borrow from the capital market. Yeah. So this is how they World Bank borrows. Yeah. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay, in terms of governance structures, you see Chinese share is 4.42%, which was quite recently determined. I think 4 years ago. So at that time, well, before that, China has maybe less than 1%. India had also less than 1%. But 4 years ago, the share were revisited, and then China has now 4%, and India has 3%, which is good. In order to change governance structure, developing countries have to have a higher share. That means you have to pay, but you have to have a voice on the governance structure of the World Bank. Yeah. Well, hopefully, Indonesian government, as Indonesian economy grows, they are going to increase the share in the World Bank equity structure. Then, the advice from the Indonesian government is going to be incorporated into World Bank lending strategies. Okay, thank you very much. This is the end of my talk, and then I'm looking forward to having questions.
Okay, thank you, Professor, for your wondering experience sharing. Can I say, Subarashi Keiken o Kyoyu Shite Itadaki Arigatou gozaimasu.
Very
I don't know,
good.
is it
Very
right?
good. Very good. Very excellent. Excellent.
And then, actually, I'm really interesting in some point that you've said to us about. First is about professional integrity, that we have to, or we must be honest, and I really do with your statement, because as a researcher, moreover as a student, we have to be honest with ourselves, moreover to the other. I mean, from how do we get the data, how do we process our data, and etc. And so on. And then the second part is about conducting multiple tasks at the same time. I think this is quite difficult for the Indonesian student, and for Indonesian people, not only student, but the Indonesian student, because sorry, because it's not about culture. It's not it's not only culture, but also as you said that there must be a good system, a stable system, a steady system that existing, and then it can be run even though some part is doesn't run well. And after that, but I have but one point, one thing that make me confused. How can you as productive as what you've said? I mean, like 3 books, 3 months. It means 1 book, 1 month. It's quite difficult for Indonesian people, and I don't know how to how to do that. Maybe because in Japan or in international organization they have a stable system, so every job can be done on time, not only in time but also on time. Okay, maybe is there some of you have some question for Professor Sumia,
Okay.
or maybe we can discuss a little bit, discuss about my little question.
Okay.
Because
Okay. Sure.
how to change, I mean how to change from I cannot say that we will replicate Japanese culture, but because everything we have a different background. But I think you already know about Indonesian culture. How do we change from Indonesian culture today to be better?
Okay. You know, I never lived in Indonesia, but I know Indonesian people in Japan as well as in Washington D.C. And then I can say, conducting multiple tasks at the same time looks difficult, but easier if you do. And then, in fact, many of my friends my Indonesian friend in Washington D.C. or United States, they already do. So I'm sure if you go out from the Indonesia, work in the other countries, you are taking Roman ways. You are good at taking Roman way, and then Indonesian people are very adjust. I mean, good at in adjusting. Maybe in Indonesia you are adjusting Indonesian culture. That's okay. Yeah, that's your countries. But once they move into other countries, they always quick to adjust their countries and then do their work. I've never seen Indonesian people bank staff come at the come to the meeting very late. Never seen. They are always first early bird actually. So they are good in when this thing happened in Jordan. Yeah. When I was working in the Jordan people said themselves, "Hey, we are very late to come to meeting." Yeah, and then we are lazy. But Dubai, where lots of Jordanian people work, when I see, when I meet bank staff in Dubai, and then when I find this person is very good, and then where are you from? He said, I'm from Jordan. So this happened. Well, in one sense, only people who can adjust to the environment can survive. That's why actually when I saw the Indonesian people who survived. That's why actually they are quick to adjust. Yeah, but well, I don't know. Well, maybe it looks before you do, but it's easier if you do.
Okay, thank you. That's at the same time, this is the motivation from Prof. Somea to all of us. But I have a difficult question for you, Professor.
Please.
Which one is promising? Working in Japanese automotive company or join with World Bank?
Sorry. Working in Toyota and what?
Yeah, in Japanese automotive company like Honda, Toyota, Mitsubishi, Nissan, or join with World Bank.
World Bank. Okay.
Which one is promising?
Okay. All right. I have to tell you the salary wise. Okay. Well, World Bank at that time I was making $70,000. Yeah. I was around 40, and then which is actually quite a little higher than Toyota's salary. But I have a friend from Mitsubishi Corporation. You know Mitsubishi Trading Company, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then he was also second to the World Bank. He was the same age. He was getting same salary. Maybe he is higher, but around $60,000 to $70,000. Yeah.
In heavy industry or in automotive sectors?
No. He was in World Bank. He was I remember he was at the World Bank. I was economist. He was engineer. Yeah.
Oh, engineer.
And then we are the almost same salary. We are having same salary, but he told me he's getting another salary from his companies. Yeah, that's actually $50,000. Almost twice. Why? I asked. Because he was getting $12,000 from his company in Japan, but he was getting $70,000 from the World Bank. The difference is actually paid out from the company. So actually, it's not the where you work, but it depends on what sector, what industry you work. Yeah, what company you work. World Bank salary is not too bad, but honestly speaking, many people, as I said, at the World Bank, many people come and many people go leave, right?
Yeah.
And then where they are going, they are going to Wall Street, which pays much higher than World Bank. Okay.
Okay.
In fact, in the World Bank, I was getting $70,000. But my friend who left the World Bank and then working in the commercial bank in the Wall Street, he was getting twice as much as I did. I was doing. So, all right, the salary wise,
Does it mean that
something like this.
working in Toyota is more, not
Yeah.
more, but better than
Well,
salary?
worse than worse than well, okay. In Japan,
Yeah.
perhaps in the same in United States, manufacturing sector pays not very good in
Okay.
general. Even
Yeah.
though Toyota is one of the biggest automotive corporations,
Yeah.
but they are manufacturing.
Yeah.
Bank financial sector pays you much better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. And then, okay, is there any question from the student or from the participant? If you use twice devices, please mute one of your devices. Okay, because there were storing. Okay, is there any question from the participant? Okay, so like what Professor Somia said, that the minimum requirement for working in World Bank is master degree, and then people who wants to apply for working in World Bank, they have to prove sense of initiative, result orientation, and leadership qualities, as well as effective teamwork skills. I think that's must be educated in our my student. And then after that, strong communication skills, either present ideas clearly or speak persuasively. And then excellent communication and presentation skill. I think for excellent communication, sorry, I think for presentation skills, they have, but excellent communication maybe must be improved. But yeah, this is not only for my student, but also for me myself, because I just wondering how can I hope I hope I can write 3 books in 3 months, because it's
Okay.
quite difficult.
Okay. Well, it doesn't have to be in English, right? So, sometimes Japanese staff I know, they because they don't want to spend a lot of time on preparation for the new jobs, they buy the books. Let's say book on agriculture in Japanese. Then it's not too difficult to read one small sim book in 1 month, right? So 3 books in 3 months is not too difficult, and also it doesn't have a thick book, because the purpose, or I mean objective of reading books on agriculture is not to be a kind of expert on the agriculture. You are
I
going to
see.
start work on agriculture, right? Through working, you can improve. But upon the initiation of the work, you have to have you have to be ready for talking with your colleague on agriculture, right? So for this, the reason is actually to have a kind of fair level of agriculture. Yeah,
I
that
see.
you can get it from 3 books. I mean, not thick, but thin books in Japanese, Indonesian, anywhere,
Oh,
any language. Then after that,
okay, I see.
maybe you are ready to talk with your colleague on agriculture. Then you improve your knowledge on agriculture further while working. Yeah. So
Okay.
yeah, that's what I meant.
Okay. 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 Is there any question? You can say in bahasa Indonesia, and I will translate it into English, or you can speak in English. Okay. Okay, there is one question. The pandemic may lead to long-term and considerable economic implications. To restore confidence and revive the economy, what are the World Bank's policy recommendation for? I mean, he asking about the global pandemic, and then to rebound, or how to how to say, uh, how to survive, from this condition. I think this is for global countries.
Okay, good question, very good question, but no answer. Well, everybody is working on this subject, right? And
Yeah.
then maybe if you visit IMF and the World Bank website, they are
Yeah.
all about COVID-19. So which means actually they are really allocating lots of human resources and then financial resources to work on COVID-19. But have, I haven't heard any kind of innovative idea to tackle with COVID-19, which means actually, we have to wait for the vaccine, yeah,
Vaccine. Okay.
produced by the pharmaceutical companies, not the World Bank, unfortunately. And then they are working on the analysis to analyze the impact of COVID-19. And then perhaps right now, the biggest issues in World Bank and IMF is actually fiscal position aggravated because of spending increase for COVID-19 in developing countries, particularly some African countries are in troubles in terms of debt payment because COVID-19 case has been increasing, and then they have to spend. So the spending increase. So they have no financial resources to pay back for their debt. When the country go into the defaults, they have no access. That makes
I see.
actually, in order to spend for COVID-19, you have to borrow, right?
Okay.
When so that the problem right now issue. I mean, proposed and then discussed and analyzed in the World Bank and the IMF.
Okay. Thank you, Professor. And this is one more question
Sure.
from. Sorry. You said that you have several experiences in several countries. What made us be placed in several countries? Does it promotion? If so, we have to start from our country or chosen by the boss. Can we choose the country by ourselves? I mean, maybe he said that uh, based on your experiences, you have to visit it in Jordan, and many countries. Uh, how you can be placed at that countries? Is
Well,
it promotion, or
okay. Let me explain a little bit about internal labor market in the World Bank. Yeah.
okay?
Uh, okay. Compared with Japan, in Japan, you want to work in Indonesia, then you have to ask your boss, please allocate me to the Indonesia. So the boss is going to, well, human resources together with boss is going to allocate you to Indonesia. But it's not just like that in World Bank. In the World Bank, there's the internal job market, and then
Okay.
and then always available information is always available. Like what we saw, that's actually the same display as internal job market inside the World Bank. Yeah. So when you see someone, I mean, is when you see job opening in Indonesia, you apply. Then if you are good, then you are selected. Then you move on to the countries like that.
I
So
see.
it's up to you.
Okay, so it doesn't matter when we apply in like in Thailand or in Washington, but we can ask if we have a good or best progress, then we can how to say, we can ask the boss to place to shift us to
Uh,
shifting us to our country.
that's Japanese way.
Oh,
But
I see.
World Bank, you don't have to ask your boss.
Okay.
You look at the internal job market website.
Oh, I
The
see.
website has a internal job market,
Yeah.
like what we saw in my presentation. Yeah,
Mm.
the consultant at Bangkok, right?
Okay.
That kind of information is available in the intranet of the World
Oh,
Bank.
okay.
So if you are interested in consultant in Bangkok, you
Mhm.
apply.
I
Then
see.
if you are selected, then you move. Then
Okay, I see.
if you are selected, then you talk to your boss. Hey, I got offer from the Bangkok
Okay.
office, so I move. You don't have
Okay.
to excuse, and you don't have to, you don't have to have an agreement with your boss. It's up
Oh,
to
I
you.
see.
Yeah, it's
Okay, I
easy.
see.
So that
Okay.
means actually it's good actually because you know your boss sometimes is very bad, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. In that case, everybody move out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, so everybody knows, hey, lots of people are moving out from this division. That
Mm.
means people know this
Mm.
director is not a good guy. So it's
Okay.
actually market tells you, internal job
Okay.
market tells you who is
Okay.
bad and who is good.
Yeah. It's like a natural selection.
Yeah,
Natural
yeah, yeah.
selection. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much, Professor Mia, for your amazing experiences about how to work in World Bank. Because in Indonesia, because this is a Friday, so most of Indonesian people we have to pray in this time in next
Sure,
30
sure.
minutes.
Yeah, yeah.
So behalf on economics, banking, and finance program, I myself, behalf on this institution, my institution, I said I wanted to say my apologize if there is some uh, how to say
No, no, you don't have to.
less
You don't have to.
weakness.
Don't worry.
No, no,
Nothing,
no,
nothing.
no, no,
Nothing, nothing.
this is Indonesian culture. I mean,
Yeah,
because
I know, I know.
we acknowledge that nobody's perfect. That even though we do this program, but it will be will be a closing statement from head of economics, banking, and finance program, and he is Dr. Tio Triwayudi. Please, now it's your time.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Nugroho Surya Bintoro. Good morning, Prof. Masakasu Sumia. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam, Prof.
I was in Jordan.
Oh, I
Okay,
see.
yeah, I
Yeah,
see.
yeah. That's why you're familiar with this, with that words.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, today the 3-in-1 program series in our undergraduate program in economic, finance, and banking, alhamdulillah, has been completed. Before we officially close the series, there are several things that we need to say. As stated by the Dean of the Faculty of Economy and Business at the opening session, that the 3-in-1 program is a routine program in Brawijaya University in order to improve our study program quality. This 3-in-1 program, especially in our undergraduate program of economic, finance, and banking, is the first to be implemented. And based on our evaluation during the activities, we have gained many benefits from the activity, not only for our study program, but also for all of participants. We would like to express our gratitude to the speakers who have been willing to attend and sharing knowledge, sharing experience during the program, especially to Professor Masakasu Sumeya. We hope that the meeting in this activity will be a good start for us to build a closer cooperation between Nagoya University and Brawijaya University in the future. Also, for all our students and participants, who have participated during our 3-in-1 program will hopefully you get a useful knowledge here. And of course, for all of committee that has been involved in this event. In this session, we also would like to apologize if during the activity, there are many things that make all of the participants and speakers feel inconvenient with our hospitality. This will be our evaluation and improvement in the next activity. Finally, on behalf of the Faculty of Economy and Business, Brawijaya University, we officially close the 3-in-1 program in the undergraduate program of Economic, Finance, and Banking. Thank you for your participation. See you in the next activity. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Back to Mr. Nugroho.
Langsung Pak. Okay, thank you very much for your participation for this afternoon, and thank you very much for Professor Semia. We hope all of us, maybe one of you, I mean from the student, it is good time and this is good experiences when you want to choose working in Japanese industry or in World Bank. I mean, or you can continue your study in Japan, because from Japanese government they give a lot of scholarship. I mean, this is also for your future to pursuing your target for working in World Bank, because the minimum requirement is master degree. Okay, this is from me. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you for your participation, and I think good afternoon and goodbye everyone, and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Terima kasih. Bye bye.
Terima kasih. Okay, bye bye. Thank you, Prof.